Gaz here, and welcome back to my garage. That's it, episode 2, season 2. It's here. It's that time of the week when we get to throw the shed door open and have a chat about the week that was, the weekend that's coming, and things that are going on in your shed, my shed, and things like that. So let's begin tonight's episode with what's been happening in my week. Well, we headed out west this week for work. Monday started off heading out to Colomulla, Tuesday, and then from there the excitement really hit fever pitch, or the adventure really started. Left Quilpie on Tuesday morning and headed across the Addervale Road. It's a nice little shortcut. Takes about 2 hours, 2.5 hours off your travel time. If it saves going down to Charleville and back up to Blackwell, you just zip straight across through pretty well bitumen 50% of the way and dirt the last 50. So yeah, it was a good trip. I got 3/4 of the way through, and the road said it open, but yeah, it had other plans for me. Ended up getting bogged. That's right. Yeah, bogged. Proper bogged, not just a little bit, had to dig out. I was sitting there kind of pondering what I was going to do, to be honest. I jumped on the UHF and scanned through the channels and eventually found on Channel 1. Got hold of one of the locals, Pommy Dave the farmer, he goes by. Absolute legend of a bloke. Thanks again, Pommy Dave. You got me out of the poo, literally. He come along and he had a mate with him coming the other way, and between them, I got winched out. And then after a bit of a conversation, a bit of a chat, and with toing and froing and what's happening and roadworks and things like that, the best way to come, it was decided that I don't go on to Blackwell because the road was worse further down. It was to hang a right and go down a road called Scrubby Creek Road. It's anything but a road, believe you me. It was rather, corrugated, bumpy, heap of washouts. I just cruised along and probably 20 or 30k in, blew my first tyre. So, got out. And the Jacks and the Mitsubishi Tritons aren't the best of things at the best of times. Even on a bitumen, they're not really designed to work properly, I don't think. But ended up having to find myself a nice little flat spot, and then got onto a grid and used that and found some bits and pieces floating around that I could use to prop up the jack, changed the wheel and continued on my merry way. Averaging probably 15, 20 kilometres an hour, and another 20, 30 k's down the road, I guess, I hit another washout, blew another tyre. Only had one spare with me, so that made it interesting. So ended up limping a little bit further on the rim until I could get mobile reception, because the farmers, I couldn't get hold of any of those guys on the UHF, couldn't get hold of anyone on the UHF actually. So I got one bar of signal on my phone and worked out I was 120 k's out of Charleville. So I rung a tilt tray, and a couple of hours later had the Triton on the back of the tilt tray heading into Charleville. Same tilt tray guy that bailed me out last year, actually about a bit over a year ago with the LDV when it died. At least he didn't have as far to travel this time. So we got back into town at a reasonable sort of hour in the afternoon, organised a tyre and all that sort of stuff. He was awesome. Zach, he runs a tilt tray business now, towing business. He used to have a workshop in Charleville, so if you ever break down out that way, mate, he's your man. If you need anything moved from Charleville, he's your man. He was good. He set me up at the tyre shop, even loaned me a little Hyundai Getz to get around that night, so I could get around the next morning and do what I needed to do as well. So I went to dinner. Went to my favourite pub in town and had a mixed grill at the Cattle Yard pub, which is one of the great little pubs in Charleville. Charleville's probably got 3 or 4 pubs, I guess, but that's my favourite. I've eaten at all of them now, and I'll definitely keep going back there. And the mixed grill, what can I say? I didn't have egg on this one though, they must have forgot the egg, but hey, it was still good. It just played it a thing. You got to think and be prepared. Like, I was lucky I had plenty of water, things like that with me, and I was able to call on my mechanical nous really to get myself out of the poo with using the jack properly and chocking it up and all that sort of stuff, and being able to change it and not panicking when I got bogged the first time. Like, it could have turned pear-shaped really if I didn't have a UHF, because not many cars travel that road. Like, I'm flat out seeing 1 or 2 every time I do that trip, and I've done that road now quite a few times. So it's a good little shortcut, but you've got to be prepared just in case something does go wrong and things turn bad. So you can get yourself out of drama. Don't panic. I had plenty of water. Had my UHF. Now I've just ordered a Starlink to put in the car when I travel, do those roads. So I'll have mobile reception everywhere. For the $150 a month, I think it's going to cost me. I don't think you could really ask for any more. It's an investment really on safety. It's come a long way. Imagine not having that back in the day, or not having UHF back in the day. It'd be just sit there and wait until somebody come through, I guess, and bail you out. So I was lucky with those guys. They were able to get me out. Ended up getting towed out back to town, back to civilization. Sorted out the wheels and tyre situation on the car. Got a few other little things I got to fix. Tore the inner guard out and stuff like that. One tyre blew. I broke 2 sway bar link pins or popped them off, so I ended up disconnecting the sway bar and taking it out and travel the rest of the way home. So make a few phone calls on Monday to Mitsubishi, order a couple of new parts, and go from there, get it put back to normal. So that was that part of the adventure. It was good. It was a good conversation piece anyway. So I had a good chat with the guy with the tow truck. The farmers were awesome. They were giving me what was happening around the traps. Ended up, making a couple of good contacts. So they got a lot of farm equipment, run cat trucks. So I'm going to pop up, see them next time and drop off a carton, because that's usually what you give for a tow out nowadays, isn't it? For the Aussie way is a carton. So I'll pop in, drop them a carton next time I'm up that way next quarter. So I'll be up there and catch up and say good day and see. I'm quoted on one of them's getting a new truck, so he's also going to get an auto greaser put on. And then Zach, the tow truck guy, the dude, he's got a super tilt and a few other bits and pieces, and we're putting an auto greaser on those for him as well. So it worked out well. You strike up the conversation where you're going. So that was the good bit of the adventure for the week. Didn't get much more exciting after that, except trying to get into the around Chinchilla, because it was flooded on the western end. You could get in from east, but from the western side of Chinchilla you couldn't get in because the river was up and the creek was up. And good old Google Maps, as much as I tried to argue with it for it to get me to take anywhere but Chinchilla, it kept taking me close. And down all these little back dirt roads and stuff like that with lots of water. The old saying, if it's flooded, forget it. I didn't want to play that game. I went through one little bit, but I could see the white line on the middle of the road, so I knew it wasn't that deep. So I just crawled along, followed the middle of it, and got through that way. But you don't want to go playing in flood waters. There was one part there, I was probably an hour in and had to turn around and come back out the other way because I couldn't quite see how deep the water was. There was no markers or anything like that. So best left, turn around. So I got into Dalby. I think it was about 7:30 that night. Last night I got in. But that's life, and that's part of the adventure. Like that's one of the enjoyable parts of doing my job is I get out and about. I'm not stuck in an office. I'm not looking at the same 4 walls. I'm out seeing people and experiencing things. So that was fun. Hopefully Chinchilla dries out. I know Bundaberg was underwater as well this week in places. So hopefully once the water drops down, and people can get back in and there's not too much damage. It didn't come up that quick that they didn't have time, and a lot of the residents had time to get their stuff up, and I know some of the workshops got their gear out in time in Chinchilla. So hopefully the loss won't be as bad out there. That's the aim. I really hope that they don't suffer too much with losses and stock losses and that with that cattle and all that way too, because cotton's starting to come off now as well. So the cotton pickers and the contractors are all busy. I know we had a very short window to get our bit done on this year's cotton pickers. We had 12 of them I think we had to do in the end, and we got a 2-week window that was open. The first lot, the boat arrived in, they landed on Monday in at RDO in Toowoomba. We had to get them. We had Monday during the day. They used them. Then we jumped on, and it's a bit over a day for what we need to do, fitting the auto greasers and stuff like that. And then they had to be on the road by Friday. The first lot today, Friday, on the way to Cully Station now at Dirranbandi. So I believe they all got done. The first lot, and the next lot will be done next week, and go from there. So the rain came at a bit of an opportune moment for some people. It helped out. It delayed cotton pick and gave them the last bit of water they needed. But the planting and stuff like that is well for the new crop kind of got delayed now. And the cost of fuel is really starting to, or the lack of fuel, I should say, is really starting to hammer home with some of the farmers. I was talking to some of the guys out there that haven't got enough fuel to run their machines, and because everybody in town has been hoarding it all. Like I've only ever seen people hoarding fuel in around Brisbane as much as I've ever seen it. I've never seen guys rocking up and buying diesel for themselves or unleaded and 205s and stuff like that just to keep. Go easy, guys. Panic buying is what causes all the dramas. Look what happened with the toilet paper when COVID. Didn't really need it, did we? People have still got toilet paper left after that lot, and you still see people with bulk toilet paper sitting there. So let's just be smart, guys out there. Don't hoard the fuel. Don't go and panic buy, which they are doing. Just take a breath. There is fuel. There is reserves. Our slack government are doing a little bit, I guess, as much as they can do. We should never have let the refineries close down. Back in the day we had 8 or 9 refineries and tank farms everywhere. Now there's 2 operational refineries left in Australia. Same with fertiliser. Like that's starting to slow down on the import too. We supplied the byproduct and everything, send it overseas to be made into fertiliser when we can do it ourselves here. It's just the cost of everything got too dear. The unions get involved, all that sort of stuff. I do agree the unions do have their part. They have got safer working conditions, but some of them have gone over the top now with the demands and things like that. It's just making it cost prohibitive to manufacture anything in Australia. We don't even make cars here now. Everything's imported. Look at what COVID didn't teach us anything. We rely so much on people, on other countries to supply us to keep us going. We shouldn't need to. Let's make a concerted effort to bring a manufacturing, particularly of fuel. Like we're a resource-rich country. Like we sell our coal off to overseas to buy it back in clean. We can do it here. Like it's stupid. I wish the government would wake up to it. The only way the government's going to wake up is if you and I talk and and start and talk with our votes. Like don't vote them in for it. I know I said at the last episode of Gaz's Garage that I wasn't going to get political. That's my only political statement I'm making now is let's bring manufacturing, particularly of our resources, keep it all in Australia. We're too reliant on other countries, and we're learning that now. Like, look at what's going on. Fuel, that sort of thing. So that's it from the political comments and the political statements. What else has been happening in the world? Well, motorsport, there's a lot going on, particularly this weekend. The 360 sprint car title is on in Toowoomba, weather permitting. We had a bit of rain today. So that's tonight and tomorrow night. There's a couple of drivers there, and I'll touch on those and my drivers to watch. We've also got the TA2, and those guys all start off there at the Bend at Mallala, maybe, I think. And there's stuff on the Bend. There's motorsport on everywhere, actually, this weekend. The Grand Prix was last weekend, and it was a crash fest in the final race for the supercars. And on social media, poor old Brock Feeney's copped it. But the poor kid, he muffed up, he made a mistake. Bad judgment call. He stood on the loud paddle, tried to do a flick spin and get himself out of trouble. Probably in hindsight, not the best decision, but he did it. Crutched his car, put him out of the race, brought out a few other cars. Funny to hear though that the first accident was caused by the wheels jumping together. 2 cars touched. One went up in the air and caused the other one to have bad spin. Everyone's been talking about it. Paul Morris had his say on it. I know Scotty Pye on his podcast had his say on it. The wheels have been an issue. I agree 100% that the way they're designed, and I believe I did hear that they are looking at a new wheel for supercars because it's a control wheel. You buy it all, and the Blanchards through Racer Industries supply the wheels for the supercar series. I believe they've got a new wheel on its way, so that'll make life a reverse dish wheel, so dished inside, not outside like these current wheels are. So hopefully that is true, and we do see that coming into effect before the next round in New Zealand. And I think most of the cars are going to be loaded in containers by Monday, Tuesday this week, because they don't fly them over anymore like they did a couple of years ago. They put them on a boat. You get one shipping container per car type thing with your gear and everything in it, and they load it all in there and away they go. So most of the teams do have the shipping containers sitting at their sheds and their workshops all year round. So they pack them gradually and they do like trial fits and whatever they need. So they do get it across there. And some of them have sent over some other gear a bit earlier on a smaller boat or a smaller container of gear have gone over a bit earlier, so they've got other stuff over there, similar to what F1 do. Like you get your main stuff in your bulk shipment, and then you send your auxiliary stuff and all that over on another shipment. Stuff that you don't need urgently, they put over on a different freight thing. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. I kind of missed that sort of travelling bit from years ago doing it, when offshore racing and things like that, when you're shipping stuff overseas for a race. I was lucky enough to work with a couple of sprint car teams when they come to Australia, so they'd ship over their cars from midway through the year. They'd ship over their current car they were running over there and end up selling it over here. Like, I know a few guys that have bought them, like your ex Jimmy Seals, that's saying my age, Jimmy Seals, geez, that was 80s and 90s when he toured, and Sleepy Trip and that in the speed cars, and then even the Kinses, when they come out, they'd bring out 3 or 4 cars with them, and then they'd sell them over here. And you'd be buying really good gear, and that's how a lot of guys really stepped up their gear, and their equipment was buying it from over there. Or you go over there and race, do a couple of races, and send your gear, but the gear that you bought over there back here, because it's second hand, no import duty, so you get around it that way. It was perfect. But I think the government, being the government, they probably closed that loophole pretty quick. So it does happen. People do buy, like a lot of cars do come over here for races. Doesn't so much in F1 because nobody really buys F1 cars because it's multi-billion-dollar operation to race Formula One. But your Formula 2 and things like that, a lot of guys do purchase cars that come over here to race, GT4s. The GT program this year is looking sensational. Geez, there's some good names getting into that. I'll touch on that a bit more as the episode progresses and go from there. So if you like what you hear so far on Spotify and like what you see on YouTube, like, subscribe and share it. Spread the love. I know it does. I'm not the most attractive person to look at, and my voice is a bit boring, and I might rub it on a bit. But hey, it's all good fun, and it's all part of the garage. Gaz's Garage is basically just stories from the garage, things that we get up to in the garage. We talk racing, workshop people, things in the workshop, tools that make it easier, what projects you got going and things like that. So yeah, share the love. That's all I got to say, and I'll keep getting back to it every now and then. What else is going on in the garage? Well, the RC cars, we're off this month. We don't race again now until the end of the month because of CMC's out at the Willowbank at the precinct. So they take over the whole precinct. I think where we got our track, they use that for glamping. They put up a tent city there, so we can't get in there until the end of the month because our CMC's next weekend, I believe, the Country Music Festival. It's the largest one in the Southern Hemisphere. All the big names from the US come out as well as a lot of good talent. Karting wise, well, there's a lot going on in karting. Round 1 of the Australian Karting Championship kicks off this weekend at Coffs Harbour. Beautiful little track down there. Great club as well. It should be interesting. A lot of new teams kicking off. I know Harrison Hoey starts off with his H-Sport karting, which basically morphed from Chris Walton and when he had Parolin and all sorts of teams he's had, and he's taken a step back now and he's doing just personal driver training and things like that. And Harry's taken over with his family run team. I believe they've got 15 or 20 odd karts running in their team this year. Tyler Greenbury's scaled down a little bit on the karting side of things, but he's running pretty good. Toyota, he's running the Porsches, he's got a couple, and he's got a few others in the Toyota series as well. So he's doing fairly well as well, and there's a few others I know, and everyone else is still running around in karts. The names I could rattle on, just name after name after name. They're still running and still looking for bigger and better things and going from there. Heaps of good kart teams getting out. manufacturers now really start. It's not just your OTK brands and things like that. There's heaps of brands now on the market and heaps of factory teams as well getting around. So it's really lifted the bar in karting. Not that it needed to be lifted, but it's taken the next level. You know, when you're rocking up with big trucks and marquees, and you know you got 15 or 20 people in your tent, things like that. So that's on this weekend down at Coffs. It should be a great weekend actually, racing wise. Max Walton is one of my drivers tipped to watch this year in karting. He's probably knowing him, he'd be running 2 classes again. So he'd be running KA3 Senior and probably X30 and maybe even Tag Light, Tag Open or something. Knowing him, he does dabble in. He's a very good young driver. Second generation karter. His mum raced really well, Danielle, and then his father, Chris Walton, was just a gun and go karts and in utes and in anything else that he run. So yeah, be keen to see how Maxi progresses this year. He did dabble a bit in 86s late last year, but things changed for him, so he's back in the kart. And he did win the Nationals the year before, so he's another guy, and I reckon he'll go well this year. He'll win a green plate at least in one of the classes that he's racing. So yeah, and even Harrison, he as a team owner now, he's still running himself. Won a couple of titles, green plates. I don't think there's in his family. I don't think there's a coloured plate that they haven't got. His sister, she won the pink plates with the ladies' nationals. She won a couple of classes there. He's won just about every state title there is to win. He's won a national. He's won, club championships. You name it, he's won it. And now he's taken on the role as team owner, and he'll go well. He's the sort of guy that he'll put a lot back into sport that he got out of it, and he'll do well as a team owner as well. And he's got some good young drivers coming towards. He's got a couple of older drivers still hanging around with him, but hey, that's still fun, part of the fun. And the guys that he's got hanging around, and the older drivers, the seniors on the team, are more there as mentors and things like that. So yeah, it should be good to watch him and how he progresses. He's got his tent, he's got his truck and van and everything, so he's doing extremely well. And if you're looking for a team that you want to be a part of on his national front, you can't go past the Hoeys. Like, his old man is pretty switched on as well. So yeah, it'd be a good team to be a part of, and they'll go a long way, no doubt. So, and then we got, while we're talking and going through our drivers to watch, Oscar Target just come out this week, and he's doing a GT4 program this year. He's another talented young driver, both on and off the track. He is a smart operator, a good talker, and drives very well. And he's the sort of driver that if you're looking for a driver, he's the one. Probably brings a small budget with him, but he works hard. Like he goes out and he wheels and deals, and he does his driver training. He works as a mechanic, as a karting mechanic. He does it, and he puts it all towards his racing. His family took a lot in. His old man, like I mentioned in the last episode, John's probably one of the best engine builders and driving coaches that you'll ever see in Australia. And he'll go a long way as well. I'm expecting big things out of Oscar in the coming years. Like GT4, he'll get picked up for an endurance drive in the GT program, no doubt. But wind up overseas doing a couple of drives as well. He's just got the talent there, and just the aptitude, and he's nice on a car. Like, he's not hard on it, doesn't kill it, and he can give you good feedback. Other drivers to watch in my top 5 is Jai Corbett this weekend in the 360s sprint cars at Toowoomba. He drives the 410s normally. They're running a 360 program for the title. I think this could be his weekend. He could come away with Australia 1 on the car. He's another good young driver who's just at that point, whereas, like I said in the last episode when I touched on him, that switch is just about to flick, and once that is flick, look out. He'll leave a lot of the current drivers that we got running around in Australia behind in his tyre treads, and he'll go on and win some races. I don't know whether he'll be a Gary Brazier style, win 4 or 5 Australian titles, or a Brooke Tatnall, but he'll definitely get 1 or 2 national titles and acquit himself rather well on the state and the national scene, as well as overseas in America. I think he's doing another short program over there later on this year, but whatever he does with his family backing and that, and his dad behind him, and he's got a very good crew chief and stuff like that, he'll go a long way as well. So he's in my top 5. Alice Buckley, she's just going from strength to strength with what she's doing. She'll be another one to watch again this year. She had a pretty good first hit out on that in the Super 2s at Sydney Motorsport Park, and learned a lot from it. She'll go a long way, and she's running a TA2 program as well. She does a lot of stuff off track with women in karting. She is a very marketable young lady. Presents well, talks well, does everything that she needs to do to go a long way in the sport. And she will be on the grid, no doubt, in supercars in the next couple of years. I reckon she'll be picked up for a co-drive next year, and then probably the year or two after that, she'll be in a full-time driver for herself in supercars. She's just got what it takes, and she's got the desire and the ambition to do it. So those are my top 5 drivers to watch in the next few weeks. This is going to be a regular part of Gaz's Garage. I'll do my top 5 for a few things. Top 5 drivers to watch, and then it'll be the top 5 tools at the moment, and new stuff we got going, new tools or things like that. Favourite top 5 things that you need to have in your toolbox that just make life easier. And it really come to a head brought itself up this week when I was out and about, like things I got to put in my ute now for when I'm travelling the roads I do. It's just basic stuff, like the top 5 things that I really think I need to do is just a couple of pieces of timber to use as chocks and stuff like that under the jack. A battery rattle gun would be perfect, and I've got plenty of water and spare wheel nuts, because every now and then, like if you damage one or something like that when you're taking them off, just a basic toolkit. In that basic toolkit in your car, you need a hammer, you need screwdrivers, sockets, side cutters, things like that. Every car should have a toolkit in it. You get your little one that's in there, but that's got a pair of dodgy pliers or whatever in it and a multi-point screwdriver. Do yourself a favour, grab it and put yourself a good little box together, a pair of gloves in it if you need, like if you're like me in sales and that, you don't want to be, you don't want dirty hands. Although I get dirty hands anyway on weekends and stuff like that, and even in my job doing things. But a pair of gloves, a good torch, and you need a good little spanner, 3 size spanners at the most common, a couple of sockets, breaker bar. A rattle gun is just is a luxury, but if you got one, it's even better for you. And I will be getting my batteries repacked in my Snap-on one, and it'll be staying in the back of the ute. And when I get my other ute, like my Raptor, which I want to get down towards the end of the year, it'll be going in that, because you always, and just tape, zip ties, bit of wire comes in handy. Some timber chocks, just laid down beside in the back of the ute somewhere, or in the boot, just out of the way. Particularly, you don't need so much need it on the road, but if you're doing a lot of stuff out in the bush or thing, you do need timber and a snatch strap or something like that, a tow rope or something, so you can get out of trouble if you need it. So that's my top 5 essentials really for in your car. My top 5 things in my pit box that I use with RC cars is my wheel spanner, which is very handy. You always need that, because I'm very OCD about that, or anal about it, I suppose you say, is I always double check or triple check my wheel nuts. Like I do it just out of habit. And in the race car, I always had one guy that did it, and I always did it before I climbed in the car, just double checked it. And when I worked on a crew guy, as a mechanic for different guys over the years, that was always my responsibility, making sure the wheel nuts were done, put the bleed offs in, wheel covers on, away you go. That's the last thing that ever gets done as the car's getting pushed out of the pit area and rolling down to the dummy grid. So always wheel spanner, my Allen keys. I keep a little impact driver with me and things like that, and also just my little thin blade screwdriver. I've got a favourite one that I keep in there, and another Phillips head screwdriver, and my Zeus fastener tool, because both of my cars now, all 3 of my cars have run Zeus fasteners, so instead of using a screwdriver, I got a little Zeus tool. People laugh at me. My tyre tape goes in my pocket. That's force of habit. I've had my Hoosier tyre tape now since 1985, and I still goes in my pocket when I go racing. It's just a luck thing more than anything else. It's just a habit thing, maybe OCD, whatever. But it's always in my pocket when I go racing. And even with the RC cars, go-karts, I still have a tyre tape in my pocket. People say why, but hey, it's just me. That's part of my thing I do. Next thing on our top 5 is top 5 racetracks. We're going to start with top 5 speedway tracks around Australia for this episode. You can't go past the Perth Motorplex over in WA. It would have to be the best complex in the Southern Hemisphere by far. You're pitting on grass. You got bitumen roads and that running around in pit lane. Your in-grid and your out-grid is all bitumen, concrete and bitumen. It is just sensational. The grass hills, the crowd, the food is just sensational there as well. Some of the best racetrack food you'll ever have will be there. Although I have been told the steak sandwiches or steak burgers at Toowoomba are still what they used to be from back in the day when we used to be at the old Charlton Speedway. So it's always a good judge. If it's a good steak sandwich or a good feed in the pits, or at the track, it's going to be a good night's racing. After that, coming in at number 2, you'd have to go. You can't go much past Warrnambool, purely for speed and style of racing. It's a big high bank track, and it is a well run track as well. They put on some of the best racing that you'll see. The classics there, the Australian title, things like that. It is one of the best tracks. Well, it's in my top 5, so it's number 2. So it's got to be one of the best tracks around, and that's my opinion. And then after that, we'd have to go to the old Parramatta Speedway, and no wall. They had the trotting track around and things like that. It's a sensational track, and it will never be replicated. People are trying to do it. I believe Andrew Corbett's going to model his track that he's trying to get off the ground up near Bribie Island on Parramatta, but it was just the way it was. And like Friday night racing, we used to do Friday nights down there, jump back in the truck and drive back up here, wash the car, and then race at Archfield on the Saturday night, or Maryborough or something like that. That's my number 3 favourite track. Number 4 would be Maryborough. Great little country track. Just something about it. It's an odd track. It's not really perfectly. It hasn't got the same size straights and corners. It's got a good bottom line lane all the time. It's a multi-lane track, but it's still, to run the bottom around there is the best way to go. People try to run the top, but the bottom lane there at Maryborough for some reason is just the best place to run, and it seems to be the easiest way around the track without any drama. So that comes in at number 4 for me. Number 5 is Mount Gambier, and it's equal, actually. It's probably number 2, equal to Warrnambool. Just the way it's run, and the surface and the food and the pit area and everything like that just makes it one of the top 5 tracks in Australia by far. So that's my top 5 tracks. Top 5 shed essentials. What would you keep in your shed? One of my top 5 things I keep in my shed, well, obviously my toolbox, my TV, my speaker, my fridge, definitely my beer fridge, that's right up there. So that's equal 1, I guess, with my toolbox. And probably number 4 would be some of my specialty tools that I got, and my older tools that I got. I've got a couple of old tools that are there on display in the garage. I'll do a video, I'll do a YouTube, actually I'll do an episode from the garage probably in the next couple of weeks, and I'll give you a bit of a tour. It's not much, it's a 2-car garage in front of my house. It's not a big workshop or anything by any means of imagination, but it's mine. It's Gaz's garage. That's what I do. And the last thing, number 5, is my contemplation chair. I got a chair in there that I just sit in there, and I can just look at a project or look at something I'm doing or look at whatever, and that's where I just take a moment, and it's just me in the garage on my chair. It's only an old beach chair, but hey, or a stool that I've got an old stool that I sit on in there a lot too. But that's rounds out the top 5 essentials in the garage. Top 5 lessons learnt this week. Well, be prepared. Have water. Don't believe the signs on the road when it says road open. Be appreciative of people who help you out, and bring back the wave. that is my mission at the moment, is to bring back the wave. We don't do it anymore. I did a short thing about it the other day. Bring it back. That's the main thing I want to do. So that's my top fives. Bit of a shout out now to the guys who really helped me out sponsorship wise and things like that. It would be Bucked Off Apparel. I was out there today, caught up with them while I was in Dolby, picked up a few bits and pieces that they put together for me. They're doing some new shirts for me for the Shed Crew, which you'll be able to join. Probably going to cost $50. That'll give you a t-shirt, a couple of stickers, and whatever money's left over will go to Movember. So yeah, that's the plan with that. Alpha Hunting Supplies, I'd like to thank them as well. They're part of Jason is Jamie's other half, and he runs a hunting supply shop, they're under the same roof. So it's a one-stop shop. All my followers that I've got so far, there's a dozen or two of you, thanks for heaps. It really means a lot to me that people are actually listening and watching my episodes and watching the stuff I do on social and interacting and things like that. To my mates, it's only a couple because I got rid of a few. I pushed quite a few of them away. Thanks. I can't do without this. Cap of the week. As you see this week, I'm rocking the TTSC cap. A new one come out on. I'll get a new cap out of the cupboard on Sunday and do cap of the week. I'm not sure who it'll going to be this week, but like I said, if you want to be part of cap of the week, send me your cap and I'll wear it. I'll promo you. It comes with me in the car. Sits on the dashboard when I'm not wearing it. If it clashes with one of my other customers that I'm going to see, I usually take it off and I'll put one of my Allen Lube caps on because I don't want to start World War III. I've got to try to be diplomatic and show everybody the same love. So, I'm wearing a TTSC cap. That doesn't mean I favour them over Pittsworth Fleet Maintenance or Rockley Truck Electrics or whoever else fits our gear for us. I give the same amount of the customers the same amount of love as I give everybody else. Whether you got one truck, or you got 50, or you got one cotton picker, or you got 50, or whatever. You got one shop, whatever. You buy one grease gun off me a month. You still get the same amount as if you're Brown and Hurley's or someone like that, who's probably my biggest customer I look after. So that cap of the week coming up. And then we'll do a Shed Crew shout out as well. I'll pick a member of the Shed Crew once it's up and going and we'll do a shout out. Say good day, all that sort of stuff. So this week I'm shouting out to nobody because I haven't got any Shed Crew members yet. So but hopefully I'll have some before the next episode and we can go from there. What's coming up in Gaz's garage? Well, I've got a bit going on in there. I've got to tidy up. It looks like a bomb hit it. I've got to do my car tomorrow as well because after the trip out west it's covered in mud and I've still got my boots and jeans and everything laying in the back from being covered in mud from when I got bogged. So empty it out. I'm heading down to Black Knight RC tomorrow to drop the cars off to get a few little modifications done to the body and things like that. I'll finish off the pit trolley and the trailer will get done. I'm actually hanging, the plan is to hang the RC cars up on the sidewall in the trailer. So one of the fellow members, Daniel, he's my, he helps me out, he's my fabricator. If I buy myself I can weld and that, but if I bought myself a welder, I'd be constantly building things and at the moment I haven't got the room, so I've just got to wait. But I will get a welder and I will be able to start doing my own fabricating again because I love it. Nothing better than melting steel, bits of steel together, things like that. Tidy up the garage because my OCD, do a bit more work in here. That's about the rest of my weekend. The weather's not looking real flash. Hopefully it stops because I've got to mow because I can't see my dog when she goes outside. And there's a lot going on in motorsports, so I'll give you a good wrap up on Monday on my socials, so keep an eye out for that. And there's not much more happening really. What do we got? We got RC cars at the end of the month. Next episode, it'll be pretty much the same sort of format, Tales of the Road, things like that. I will do a product shout out next episode. I'll pick a product. For the time being, it's going to be an Allen Lube product because that's who I work for, and I don't have any other product sponsorships. I will, in the coming weeks, be getting a few things made by Bucked Off Apparel. They do dash organisers, dog collars, hunting collars, all that sort of stuff for your hunting needs. I will be getting a few samples of those and showing and doing probably road testing would be a better word for them, and developing some other products. I got some good ideas for some other products as well that we're going to look at developing as well from out of Gaz's garage. We'll do stubby coolers and things like that. We'll talk about products. I'm a Yeti nut. You can't argue, you can't convince me otherwise. And everyone says you're paying for a name, but I've tried the cheaper brands and nothing beats a Yeti, I'm afraid. And I've got no allegiance or alliances or sponsorship with them. So yeah, it's just I like the product. I've been hooked on their product for quite some years now. I saw it in America when I was over there a few years back, and it finally come to Australia, and I was pretty happy about it. So you can't beat a Yeti. And I do love my stickers, which is another thing we talk about a lot, and my caps. What else will be this? Yeah, lots of other bits and pieces we will talk about in coming episodes. I have got a few guests lined up, and I do want to get out to people's garages. So if you want me to come to your garage, drop me a line, jump on, send me a message in the comments or whatever. Send me an invitation. I'll come out and sit in your garage, your shed, your whatever, your outdoor area, whatever your little happy spot, and we'll just have a chat. One of my mates wants to talk, catch up for a chat soon about the journey he's going on with his health and all that sort of stuff. So that'd be awesome. That's what we're all about. It's just talking. If you ever need anyone to talk to, my shed door's always open. And so yeah, and I check on my mates. I check on them quite regularly. So that's about it for us tonight. I've rabbled on enough, I think, and I don't want to put you off too much. So if you like what you, like I said, if you like what you've seen or heard, like, share, subscribe, all the above. Tell your mates, and until we do it all again next Friday night, or I record usually on a Thursday night, but because I was out west, I didn't record this week, and I did it tonight, so it'll go up fairly soon. So you see me in my funky shirt, which is Trademark, which is another product which I'm a huge fan of, and I do endorse them, and I do love their product, and I have got a lot of it, and it's a conversation starter, and it is part of me now. I wear these shirts mainly on every Friday. I have done for a few years, but even now on weekends and stuff like that, I'm wearing them a lot more because they got polo shirts, they got long sleeve work shirts, short sleeve, they got sleeveless work shirts, I like my long sleeves because it keeps the sun off my arms, all that sort of stuff when I'm out and about. So yeah, plug for Trademark. So yeah, so that's it for me tonight. Enjoy your weekend. Remember, my shed door is always open. It's okay not to be okay, and check on your mates.